Feels good to be back. So Creed 2 tells the story of Adonis Creed, now on top of the world as the World Heavyweight Boxing Champion, just in time for Victor Drago to issue him one hell of a challenge, the son of Ivan Drago, the man who killed his father. That's right, everybody, I am back. I'm not dead. I didn't quit YouTube. I just took a much needed overdue rest. So after the whole Halloween thing, we're doing a video every single day for almost 2/3 of the month. All the craziness going on with my Halloween 2018 review, I just took a much needed rest from YouTube, recharged my batteries, and now I'm back with a vengeance. So, on top of all that, another announcement that I have to tell you, which kind of coincides with Creed 2, is just like all the other awesome designs that I have in my Spreadshirt store, Woody Bowen was designing a shirt for Lee from Drum Dums, where to make Lee look like Rocky. And he approached me with the idea of, hey, why don't I make you look like Ivan Drago and we'll release both these shirts at the same time and you guys can have like that little yin and yang thing that you always have. So there you go. You have a shirt from Drum Dums and you have a shirt from me as Ivan Drago. Drum Dums shirt's gonna be on his store. I'll put the link for that down below. My shirt obviously is gonna be in my store. That link is always down below. So if you guys are interested in checking out either of these and ordering them to show your support for both of our channels and have some cool Rocky merchandise, you can check that out, please, down below in the video description. Now, as far as Creed 2, this is one of my most anticipated movies for this year. I didn't even put it on my most anticipated movies list for the end of last year because I had no faith this movie was actually going to come out this year with all the crazy drama going on behind the scenes where, you know, it was supposed to be Ryan Coogler directing it for the longest time, and then he dropped out because he's busy with the Marvel Universe, and then Sylvester Stallone took on the director's chair, then a few months later he dropped out. It just seemed like the recipe for disaster. When we start hearing all these changing chairs and Sylvester Stallone himself steps down as the director, I was like, oh God, please tell me Creed 2 is not going to suck. Well, the movie came out. Does it suck? No, it does not. That's right, everybody. All you Rocky fans, just join me in a huge breath of relief. Creed 2 is damn good. Not quite as awesome as Creed, but damn close. Creed 2 is one hell of a follow-up to Creed, and I'm gonna get into all of the reasons why.
I got loyalty. I was afraid I couldn't live up to these expectations. I got loyalty inside my DNA.
Starting right off at the top, let's just talk about the characters and the actors who bring those characters to life. Adonis Creed, played by the great Michael B. Jordan, he was a huge surprise in the first Creed. Nobody had faith in Creed, let's just be honest. All of us Rocky fans, we heard the story about this side story about Apollo Creed's son, all of us had a collective groan, and the movie shocked everybody. One of the best movies of the year, one of the best movies in the franchise, should have won Sylvester Stallone his Oscar. In my heart, he did win. But Adonis Creed in this movie, just as good of a character as he was in the first movie. Now you get a lot more family drama and a lot more deeper drama within his character in Creed 2 because, you know, he's furthered his relationship with Bianca. They're, you know, engaged in the movie. He becomes a father. Now he's heavyweight champion of the world. He's got all these things that he did not have to deal with or didn't have to struggle through in the first movie where he was just this up-and-coming guy trying to find a direction. Now he's got family that depends on him. He's got Rocky with a little bit of a complicated relationship with Rocky wanting him to take one path and Adonis's pride making him take another path. You got the pressure of being the champ and everybody wanting you to defend the title, and anybody that challenges you, you got to plant your feet in the sand and challenge them right back. All this stuff makes him just as much of a complicated and interesting character as he was in the first movie, just with very different struggles. And Michael B. Jordan, he's just as good as he was in the first movie. He's got that charisma, he's got that charm that he's always had. I was introduced to him in that movie Chronicle, which was one of the biggest displays of his charisma. He brings that here, he brings that emotion, that drama, and he brings a lot of that different shade of a character to make Creed, make Adonis Creed such a different character while echoing a lot of what Rocky went through. Because Rocky was always more of a simple guy, he was always good-hearted, he was always kind of like this symbol of light in all the movies. Rocky pretty much always made the good decision, or what at least he thought was the good decision. Adonis Creed is much more of a guy that kind of operates off of his emotions. He kind of reacts on his first emotion. He reacts hard. Sometimes that makes him a good character. Sometimes it makes you frustrated with him. So it's cool to kind of have a character that goes along some of the same journeys that Rocky went through, making that parallel of the stories, and the fact that it's placed in this franchise makes sense, but also just give us a completely different character, somebody that's a little bit more complicated, a little bit more frustrating to follow sometimes, but that's in a good way. It's a character that you want to see get through those frustrating decisions and come out on the other side a better character. Now, Sylvester Stallone. I will say, and this is not like a spoiler for any plot points, do not read too much into this, Sylvester Stallone does a great job as both a writer and the portrayer of the character of Rocky in really making Creed 2 that transitional movie. Because Creed was very much Adonis Creed's story, but Rocky had a very sizable amount of the focus with his cancer storyline, with how much he was involved in the training and how much he was involved in the creation of who Adonis Creed became by the end of that movie. You get to Creed 2 and he's still very much a prominent character. I'm not saying he takes a back step by any means, but he definitely, in his writing, gives you enough subtle hints as an audience member that this franchise is now Adonis Creed's. Rocky has had his story. Rocky's still here to guide Adonis Creed, and he's still here to guide the storyline and guide the franchise forward. But Adonis Creed, this is his movie, and this is his franchise going forward. I thought that Sylvester Stallone did a great job at making that a very gentle, easy transition for the audience for Rocky has had his time, now it's about Creed. So I'm going to kind of take a couple steps back and put the focus on Michael B. Jordan. Thought that was great. And Sylvester Stallone, he's damn good as Rocky every single time he plays Rocky. Even in Rocky V, which everybody knows is the worst Rocky, even though I defend it as a pretty good movie that's just easily the worst of this franchise full of awesome movies. Nonetheless, he's great in this. All the emotions that he tries to bring through and trying to kind of get through that frustration with Adonis Creed involving the drama with the Drago family, the scene when you finally get that confrontation between Rocky and Ivan Drago, that the first time they've seen each other since Rocky IV, chills as a Rocky fan. A lot of great stuff coming from Rocky, and a lot of those great life lessons, a lot of those great little monologues and lines as he's kind of that father figure to not only Adonis Creed, but all of us that kind of look to Rocky for inspiration. But this is not, like I said, it's not a movie that really focuses on Rocky, so don't expect like this powerhouse performance that he gave in Creed 2, because he's just not enough of a focus of the story to merit that much of an acting performance, which is why in my heart, he did win that Oscar for Creed. Motherfuckers.
You got everything to lose. This guy's got nothing to lose.
I ain't got a choice.
That's the same thing your father said, and he died right here in my hands. Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
But you don't think I could beat him?
As far as other characters, all the other side characters are great. You get a lot more of Adonis Creed's mother in this, Marianne, Apollo Creed's wife, or widow, however you want to say it. Bianca, another good character that's kind of gets expanded a little bit more as she becomes a wife and a mother, and has to be kind of in that Marianne role of watching Creed get into the ring when he shouldn't, and kind of hoping that he's going to come home and be okay. You also get the Dragos. I mean, one of the bigger things in this movie is Ivan Drago and his son Victor Drago, and both of them are great.
Victor Drago, son of Ivan Drago, who infamously killed Apollo Creed, appeared today to issue a challenge to Adonis Creed.
Like, you get Ivan Drago, and you're waiting for the first word to come out of his mouth. You just want to hear that blisteringly chilling Russian accent come back. I must break him. You want that to come back, and as soon as you get that scene where Ivan Drago makes his premiere back in Philadelphia, it's awesome. So I thought that they were great as far as their placement in the story, and both the performances of Ivan Drago and Victor Drago in this by Dolph Lundgren, and the guy's name that I don't know, so I'm gonna have to look up. Florian Munteanu. And I probably really fucked up that name, so I don't even know why I'm leaving this in the video, but it's staying. And being that the characters and the performance of the actors bringing those characters to life is so strong in this movie, that really heightens how well the story is written by Sylvester Stallone and his co-writer, because this is definitely a family drama film. It's a boxing film, but boxing's about 30% of the movie. Everything else is family drama, becoming a father, becoming a husband, you know, conflict between trainer and boxer, legacies of the father, that I need to make my own legacy while respecting his and kind of redeeming his from his death in the fourth movie. All of that drama is the focus of the story in Creed 2. And if you're a Rocky fan, that should not surprise you, because the best movies in this franchise, that is how these movies roll. It's not just slam bang action boxing movie. 3 and 4 kind of were, But for the most part, Rocky, Rocky 2, Rocky Balboa, Creed, and now Creed 2 are movies that focus on the story, the character arcs, and the drama foremost, and then the boxing comes secondary. Now, as far as direction, because that was the biggest thing I was worried about, all the changing hands of the directors and then ultimately being given to a very rookie director, Stephen Caple Jr., he does a damn good job. I don't think he's quite on the level of Ryan Coogler yet, but this is a movie that's definitely going to make this guy a name to keep an eye on, because he definitely nails all the things you need in a Rocky movie, as well as a Creed movie. He nails the drama, he gets all the best performances that I think he could have gotten out of his actors. He's great at directing the action. The training montage is fantastic in this, which is one of those things that is so important to a boxing movie, a great training montage. In the desert, a lot of really raw, kind of gritty training, getting, Adonis Creed stripped down to his roots and kind of getting him out there in the elements, and the boxing itself. All that stuff is great. So direction, Stephen Caple Jr., you did a damn good job. So, welcome you back for Creed 3 if you want it. If not, let's see what you're going to do next, because I have my eyes on you, sir. And my last positive, I got to give huge kudos, which I've already kind of touched on, but the writing by Sylvester Stallone and his co-writer, I think that Creed 2 was a damn good direction to take this franchise. It seemed like kind of the obvious choice to do after Creed, but how well it was executed, how well it was written, makes it to where being the obvious choice doesn't even matter. Because if you can do the obvious choice and do it damn good, then you're doing no wrong. You're giving us exactly what we all wanted and what we thought should come after Creed. The confrontation with the Dragos, that whole thing about Ivan Drago kind of being shunned by his own country after losing in his own home turf, and all the struggles that he's had to undergo since Rocky IV, training his son and kind of raising him in hate for Rocky and for USA and for anybody that kind of wants to get in between them and their legacy, the legacy of the Dragos in their mind should have had back in Rocky IV forward. The whole thing with Rocky and his relationship with Adonis Creed, how Adonis Creed is growing from a character just like Rocky did in between Rocky II and Rocky III, where he was this underdog guy and now all of a sudden he's on top of the world, he's this huge name in boxing. You get that transition, all the drama and all the turmoil that comes with that, all the family drama, which again, the first couple of Rocky movies focused on with Rocky and Adrian and Paulie, and now you get it with Adonis Creed and Bianca and his daughter and his mother Marianne. All that stuff is awesome. Like every single little direction, every subplot, every little tiny nook and cranny that this story decides to go into, it all feels earned, it all feels like it has payoff, and it all feels like it belongs in this movie. It all kind of it progresses the story of Creed. It gives us a great isolated story which kind of goes back and ties to Rocky IV, almost like this could be a direct sequel to Rocky IV all in itself, and it gives you a great place to continue this franchise forward with. So I don't think you can ask for any more. Now, as far as the negatives, I'll be honest with you. Me personally, I really don't have a whole lot negative to say about this movie. Is it as good as Creed? Not quite, but that's not a negative. That just means Creed was so fucking phenomenal and was so out of nowhere, and especially driven by that performance and that storyline that they took Rocky Balboa, that it's almost impossible for any sequel to match that. Creed 2 gets as close as any sequel is going to get, in my opinion. So that is a huge praise for it. But it's not quite as good as Creed. So if you walk into it thinking it's gonna match it or it's gonna be better, don't walk in with those expectations. Walk in for an expectation of a damn good follow-up, and you will be satisfied by the time the credits roll. The only other negative that I will say, which again, not really a negative for me, but it's a negative that I think a lot of people will focus on if you're not a fan of the Rocky franchise, or if you're really digging for something to throw at this movie as a negative, it is formulaic and it is predictable. I knew basically most of the directions this movie was going to take as soon as they announced Creed 2. And that's not a bad thing. Again, most of this franchise is formulaic. Most of the Rocky movies are kind of predictable and formulaic. Most boxing movies are. You have a guy with a challenger, either he's gonna win or he's gonna lose, and you can tell by the directions of the story whether or not it's gonna be a good story for him to win or a good story for him to lose. And every movie in this franchise, you walk in and you can tell right away, if you start looking at the story, where those things are gonna go. If you look at the storyline with Ivan Drago training his son for this ultimate confrontation, you can kind of figure out where things are going to go throughout the runtime of this movie. But again, that's not like the movie is just every single time everything's around the corner, you see it coming, the movie's boring. None of that. It's still entertaining as hell. It's still totally drama-filled, full of great performances, totally satisfying as a sequel. So is it formulaic? Is it a little bit predictable? Yes. But I think Creed 2 should have been, like most of the sequels in this franchise, should have been. But all in all, guys, I'm very happy that I can stand in front of this camera and say that Creed 2 was damn good, that it met basically every single expectation that I had, and even surpassed a couple of them, and leaves this franchise still with the coals white hot for wherever they decide to go in the future with Creed 3. So I'm glad this was not another The Predator, where I stand in front of you and I'm holding back tears. God. So if you're a fan of the Rocky franchise, if you were a fan of the first Creed, or if you're just a fan of fighting movies in general, this is a must-see. A great gem for the back corner of 2018, a great follow-up to Creed, and a great stance to take going forward in the franchise of Rocky, or Creed, as it's probably going to be known from here on forward. So check this thing out in theaters so you can get that awesome live boxing match feels, and then immediately when this bitch comes out on Blu-ray or 4K, go out and buy it. So what did you guys think of Creed 2? Did this movie meet all of your expectations? Did you leave disappointed? Did you hate the fact that it was kind of formulaic? Did you expect it to go in a different direction? And was it as good or better than Creed in your eyes? Tell me all of your thoughts on Creed, or just the Rocky franchise in general, because I love talking Rocky, down in the comment section below, guys, and we will talk about it. Please like and share this video. Hit that subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber. If you guys want to check out some of my social media links, you can check down the video description for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Spreadshirt for all of my t-shirts designed by the great Woody Bowen, including those 2 Rocky and Ivan Drago designs. Please check those out, guys. And of course, my Patreon page, which is a great way to give back to this channel, help this channel grow, and get cool exclusive content for your eyes only if you decide to become a patron. So check all that out, guys. And if you want to check out some more of my videos, you can check out a few more by clicking right over here.